Hi, today I would like to present to you a very simple but at the same time very powerful use case on which we are going to take advantage of the vRA suite components such as vRA automation, DevOps, and also the newly introduced vRA SaltStack configuration module. For this scenario, I'm gonna use a web server, the one I'm showing right now. This web server is just a simple e-commerce site. Is deployed using vRA automation. This is the actual deployment. It's very simple. It only takes a couple of resources, a database, and a front-end application. These resources are put together using cloud templates. And we can instance those as many times as needed. The application is gonna be stored in a version control server, in this case GitLab Enterprise. This is where my source code is gonna be. And the actual installation of the application, this application that I just mentioned, is gonna be possible through the vRA SaltStack configuration. So you can see there is already a target deployed and configured and actually showing that the application was executed, and you can see here that I have a lot of metadata already brought from vRA into the vRA SaltStack. And the problem that we have in this use case is that we discovered a bug, something simple, nothing major. It's just a name. Instead of reading bootcamp, we should have said something like mod electronic superstore. So somebody reported the issue, so we are going to fix it, right? So we reach out to the developer, and the developer is going to do the fix, which in this case is very simple. What I'm showing you right now is just the code that I need to modify to fix this little problem, right? So in this file, I just need to replace the string. I found it. I'm going to put the new string that I want to push into my application. A couple lines, nothing major, very simple. So I'm going to save it. And then, just like any other code, I'm just gonna, build my commit, packaging in my commit, add a meaningful message so my peers working with me in this application can understand what I'm doing. And then I'm just gonna push it, right? It's an authenticated repository, so I'm gonna provide my credentials to access. Great, now my code is being pushed to my main repository. As I mentioned before, this is the GitLab Enterprise. And we can see right here that is my commit. In fact, we can explore a little bit further. And you can see precisely the changes I just did. And as a developer, that's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else, right? But I want to make sure that my application is properly built. I want to make sure that my application is properly set together, tested, and promoted all the way to production. But I don't want to do too much about that. I want vRA Suite to help me to work it, right? And right here, in fact, I'm getting a notification from vRA Automation, and to be precise, from the CodeStream module. And in fact, it's been sharing the dashboard of a CI/CD pipeline that I defined to work with this kind of development, right? And you can see right here that the pipeline has been triggered just by pushing my new code into the repository, right? That's all it needs to be ready to be monitoring the repository and taking action. In this case, it's going to run my jobs, and you can tell that I've been playing around a little bit with this. And it's very useful, this dashboard, because it tells me where I need to focus the most, right? Right here, I'm looking into that I need to improve my build process. Probably my code is not being effectively put together. Even the testing is telling me that it's failing a lot. So I think I need to pay more attention to my code, but that's okay. That's actually, I know now where I need to put my focus on. And you can see right here that I have details about how everything is progressing, right? All the little stages and the tasks associated to those stages. Like in this case, as I mentioned before, I want to build some temporary infrastructure so I can test my code. And what is really fantastic about that is that I can use the same cloud template that I showed you in the beginning to reproduce and exactly copied of what I have in production. Here you can even see that this name of this new deployment is actually including the commit ID that I put together, right? That's by my definition. So I'm going to create this new infrastructure, right? So I'm going to show you a little bit more about those specific tasks that is going to be happening. In fact, I'm going to be using 2 pipelines, right? I'm going to nest one of those so I can reuse existing pipelines into my new flow, which is the CI/CD process for this application. So right here, you see that there's a deployment going on. You see that it's using my commit ID because this is an information that CodeStream is able to collect from the repository. And then I'm just instructing how I want to do it, right? So I'm pre-staging all the information that needs to happen. Like in this case, I'm going to be using development. So I want to tag it that way. I probably may decide to use a different vRA SaltStack configuration module. Who knows? Whatever it needs, right? I got the flexibility to put it into parameters. And once this is deployed, I want to test it, right? That's very important, right? I want to do the testing of this application. So I'm going to define my specific testing for this application, and then I'm going to reuse our standard testing suite, which is actually available as another pipeline. So you can see here, I'm defining just another task. The type is pipeline, and then I'm just indicating which one it is and whatever parameters it needs in order to run, which the real cool part about it is that it's going to take information from this master pipeline and I can pass it all the way down to this children pipeline that is going to be doing the testing for me. So going a little bit back to the dashboard, we can tell that the deployment is completed and the testing itself has started. All the information available as part of this deployment, in this case, this is deployment task, anything that I put together, input, output, that information can be actually used by the pipeline, right? And can be reused for any task or any other pipeline as I show you. And you can see right here that my deployment has been completed successfully. It's exactly a replica of what I have in production, which is critical. I want to make sure that is precisely the exactly same application. Furthermore, I want to set some boundaries. In this case, you can see that I set some service broker list policies. So for anything that is development, I don't want to keep it for so long. I want to keep it for 1 day. For my production word logs, I want to have different policy, which I can change at any point, right? But let's go back to the testing. You can see the testing is ongoing. And it can run in parallel. And you can see, as I mentioned before, that in parallel is running my standard testing, but also is going to call another pipeline for further testing. That's something that we use all the time for web-based applications, regardless what they are exactly. And at any point, just like the deployment, I can actually stop my pipeline, I can restart it, I can remove it, I can pause it, and so on, right? I got operations around this CI/CD definition. So my first test is completed. And my more extensive test, which is coming from the pipeline, is still ongoing. But you can see that, again, it's a different kind of task. It has different execution, but the information that is spitting out that this task is actually going to be available to me. And again, I can use this information for whatever purpose, right? I can use output from this execution, from this testing, and say, well, this attribute is going to be exported out and is going to be used in a condition for the next task. If my levels are behind that value, then I claim that this failed, or if it's higher, then I can say, yeah, this works. And now you can see that we keep progressing. In fact, CodeStream sent me another notification telling me that I need to review the new build, right? Because that's part of my process. So I define it that way. So again, I'm showing you what is under the hood. As a developer, all I had to do was to push the chain. And you can see that, yes, my chain worked, that my application was built, but also installed by vRA SaltStack configuration, right? And you can see that is a new target corresponding to this new deployment. So looking into details, you can see in terms of activity for this new target, there is an execution that happened. I didn't have to do anything else other than let SaltStack to detect these changes and instruct my application to install. In fact, it happened because I put it into the standard target for all MOAD applications. And you can see right here that it detected the 2 of them. And it's smart enough to tell that I don't need to do anything in the first target because it's already installed. So that's why you don't see any activity. But for the second one, which is empty, it's going to do something, right? It's going to create a user, it's going to install the packages, among them my application, right? So you can see right here, all the dependencies are installed. Everything that needs to happen, instructed by me, is executed by vRA SaltStack configuration. But not only that, right? CodeStream is also sending me some notification, so I can go to vRA, and I don't really need to log in. It's just sharing a dashboard to me that is targeting my specific mod application. This is a small dashboard that I put together as part of the process. I can modify it any further, and this is live data, right? So you can see all my resources displayed here. You can see that they are properly tagged. You can correlate the information that is on vRA, and that has been detected by vRA. So I haven't done anything else. I don't really need to worry about it. This information is going to be detected by vRA, all those resources. And you can see some information, some KPIs as the result from my testing, right? So you can see that I did some sort of minor performance testing, so you can tell that, yeah, my CPU is within the limits, same as the memory. So I can tell that whatever I'm doing, whatever changes I perform, I can validate that, yeah, they are within the KPI limits. And this is per my process, right? Your process may be different, but what I want to emphasize is that you have all these tools available as part of the vRA suite that you can leverage, right? And you can expose it. Again, I'm the developer. I get access to all this information, so I can validate that this is good, this works. So I'm actually gonna authorize the promotion to production, right? This could be my operations team. It could be somebody else from my team. Whoever I define needs to authorize this. So great, it was taken. So now I'm promoting this into production, which means that I'm going to perform the upgrade. And this is really cool because the upgrade is only going to happen through SaltStack as well, right? But this time it's going to use the new build and it's going to push it into the existing application, right? And it's one single command that I need to run as part of my upgrade process, because the heavy lifting is going to happen by the vRA SaltStack configuration. And you can see that it's actually going on, right? Is active job, and it's one single line. Again, one single line instructing what needs to happen, right? All the orchestration that vRA SaltStack configuration needs to do. And here's the response back from the server, right? It's telling me that, okay, I applied your upgrade and it was successful, right? So great. At this point, you can see that the job has been complete. In fact, we can go to the specific target and we can double check that this has been executed for us, right? And it's going to be a little bit different than in installation because this is a target upgrade. So you can see right here, that is pretty much the same information. It tells me the time it took and what happened in there, right? Again, as a developer, I don't really need to go this level. All I care is about the notification, but I want to show you a little bit what's happening under the covers. So at this point, I can actually restart my web server, and you can see that my upgrade, very simple upgrade, happened. So it's completed. I didn't have to do anything other than push my code into my repository and let the vRA automation together with all the components to do the job for me, right? And right now, just as due diligence, I'm gonna test this upgrade, because even if something goes out at this stage, I can implement rollback actions such as rollback the update, and I can use the same mechanism. I can use the same techniques that I just presented to do the upgrade, but to roll back, right? And right now, and very importantly, I want to run my infrastructure very efficiently, right? So at this point, this temporary server that I created as part of my process, I don't need it anymore. It fulfilled its purpose. So it helped me to validate my new build. So I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to remove it. So I want to free resources, reclaim resources for my team or even for myself, right? So again, I got my production done. Thank you very much.